This is the County Administration Office budget. The County Administration Office provides leadership and support services to the Board of County Commissioners and all departments in all of our collective efforts to serve the public of Clackamas County, and particularly that our public can experience transparent, responsive, and effective county government. Next slide, please. Because I have 5 minutes, I'm going to power right through this PowerPoint. Next slide, please. Our performance Clackamas measures, the key one, we've already talked about it today. It's the bottom one on this chart. By 2022, 100% of reserve and contingency funds for general fund supported programs will reside at the county level. And that has been achieved already a year early, 100%, thanks to the leadership of the Finance Department and the budget team. This was very important to me and you as well, Commissioners and Budget Committee, that general funded contingencies should reside at the general fund level so the county commissioners decide how to spend those funds, not give it to departments and then they get to decide throughout the year. With all respect to our fantastic leadership team and departments, that's a board decision, not a department director decision. So that's why you see that change in all the department budgets. The only contingency that currently remains in a department is restricted funds that are non-general funds. So that was part of our performance Clackamas. We achieved that goal. Next slide, please. Actually, pass the next slide. Go on to the following slide. So this Department of County Administration is funded by two sources. The general fund, 80% comes from the general fund, 20% comes from charge for services or allocated costs that other departments pay for the services county administration provides to all departments. Our expenses, 60% go to pay our very, very talented staff, our employees in the department. 30% is for materials and services. And 10%, this one time only, is a special payment of $729,000, which, a long story short, the Board of County Commissioners line used to pay an allocated cost to the county administration line within the same department. And I thought, that's silly. Why are you paying yourselves? So we stopped that payment. But because there was not enough money then to pay our wonderful commissioners, we're doing it part of our general fund in the county admin line to pay it as a special payment to the Board of County Commissioners line. It's all within the budget. It's just an accounting move that we're making this one time only. Next slide, please, and pass this slide as well to the next slide. This is the key page. So the total budget request for county administration is $6,331,576, which is an increase of 40% from last fiscal year. The yellow column at the final column in yellow, general fund support, is $4,980,960, which is a 137% increase from last fiscal year, the highest of any department, but it is simply we're transferring funds that were in a prior account to this office account, as Sandra mentioned earlier, the non-departmental account. Next slide, please. This outlines exactly why there's such a high increase in the general fund request. So the non-departmental fund you just heard about, for the last 30 or plus years, within that account, prior leadership decided that they would spend countywide expenses from the non-departmental account rather than having it housed within a specific department. And in my opinion, I felt that was not very transparent. So with the support of Elizabeth and the finance budget team, we're taking these expenses out of the non-departmental account and putting it in the county administration office, because on behalf of the board, I feel this office supports the entire organization, and so we're just moving the funds from the non-department account to the county administration account. What are some of the expenses that have been paid from this account? Let me tell you. They have been managing for results, our performance Clackamas contractor who has helped us over the last 7 years, our equity pilot areas, I'm forgetting the current name, Prosperity Collaborative contractor, dues for the Association of Oregon Counties, National Association of Counties, Association of ONC Counties, our small grants program commissioners. This retains the small grants program at the same level as this current year of $250,000, and multiple other things that just add up to about $1.6 million. This also includes about $500,000 in what I call the County Administrators Fund, which is money that is available for board initiatives that come up during the year that is not budgeted. And it happens every year to every board I've worked with. Things such as cleaning up the RVs that are abandoned on roads. There's a cost to that. That comes from the, quote, County Administrator's Fund, which was in the non-departmental account that is now coming to the Office of the County Administrator. The 3 counties we joined for that timber lawsuit, the cost of that attorney is coming from this fund. Things, search and rescue rent that prior boards have asked us to pay comes from this fund. They're miscellaneous expenses, but that is what I'm moving from the non-departmental account to the County Administrator's Office. Next, the Clackamas County Arts Alliance and the Regional Arts and Culture Council. I am proposing to move those expenses out of the Tourism Office and into county administration, probably just for this year only until I find a better house for it. But for now, I'm proposing the same level of funding for those 2 organizations, and that level of funding is $165,000 to the Clackamas County Arts Alliance, $89,000 to the Regional Arts and Culture Council. So flat funding, the same they received this current year, I'm proposing for this upcoming year. In addition is the Museum of the Oregon Territory. There's a typo in your script there. The Museum of the Oregon Territory, Clackamas County used to fund the Museum of the Oregon Territory decades ago, and we funded many other heritage organizations. That funding stopped in early 2000s, and the Museum of the Oregon Territory, currently their building is on land owned by Clackamas County, but we do not own the building, we own the land. The Museum of the Oregon Territory is a very, very important component of our heritage and culture of Clackamas County, so I am proposing that we fund to support their operations $100,000 to the Museum of the Oregon Territory. So those 3 organizations, Arts Alliance, RAC, Museum of the Oregon Territory, comes to a total of $354,000 to fund those 3 organizations. And then finally, the real addition to the department is a budget increase for our outstanding personnel of approximately $619,000. That is for the normal cost of living and merit increases for those employees. However, the Deputy County Administrator, now titled County Operating Officer, I gave back half of that funding this current fiscal year to ensure that we were having a sustainable budget for last year, which meant I gave back approximately $150,000, which I'm simply asking for back now to keep the position whole, as well as we've had 4 vacancies for most of this last fiscal year, which are a considerable cost savings, all going back into the general fund. So I'm not concerned by this amount. You may think it's high, but again, I told it's really closer to probably $400,000 total, which is not accounted for the rationale I just explained. And there's an addition of 1 staff member who is going to be shared with tourism, so it's really only 0.5 expense in this office, and that's a temporary employee we brought on to support us during the last year during the 4 vacant positions that we held. So those are the significant financial changes, why there's a 137% increase in the county's, in this department's general fund. I've done a lot of information there, but I want to be mindful of time, so I'm actually going to stop at this point, and I'm happy to answer any questions or anything I have not talked about you have a question about.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Commissioner Smith and then Mr. Feely.
Yeah, Gary, thank you for that information. And the increase is we have a whole new department under our administration, as you said, the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Department, and they're very active, doing a lot of work. And it's just like the public know to be mindful, is that in the county administration office where commissioners are housed, we are the elected people. But there's also a lot that's required, a lot of more information gathering is coming in, a lot more pressure for services, a lot more demand on our staff to solve problems. And that's what it's really fueling a lot of this. And we do some good, and there's some good programs like the Small Grants Program. Gary, how much is that again?
$250,000.
$250,000, and there was a time then when I was here last time, I think we upped it. It was like 100,000 or something like. Started out as 100,000, and you know, and that goes to very worthy organizations who don't normally get general fund monies, and it's generously paid for by our taxpayers, and that is. And the Small Grants Program, I look at it, is giving back to the taxpayers for services, goods, or products, or whatever they're doing out there, just to help a little bit. The timber lawsuit was very important. in that affect our ONC county lands. We won that. And we were joined by Marion County and Lynn County in that. And so the cost was spread out to the two other counties, but we won that, and that has financial implications going forward. But thank you for that, Gary. And I assume that we would have an itemized list of all the services that administration provides, because I suspect that we could be hearing from some public folks tonight at our hearing, why are the commissioners getting all that more money? And we're really not. Yes, so thank you for that very good budget presentation.
Yeah, thank you. I want to mention also that having been a member of the Prosperity Projects, how vital they were to Clackamas County, and I hope that there's an opportunity to continue them on in some way or another. We were looking at how to help lift up communities and people who had needs. In our particular pod, or lab, I think they were calling it, we ended up working on childcare, and there's a dearth of childcare in Clackamas County and surrounding areas, but it was through that program that we were able to identify that, to find solutions, and to begin to work towards those solutions. I'm also glad to see that we're funding, once again, the Museum of the Oregon Territory. For the past few years, some of their board members have talked to me about their dire needs there. So I appreciate that that's now right there on our viewpoint also. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay. Mr. Feely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gary, you mentioned the COO position. Have you hired for that yet?
Yes, I did. The new county operating officer will be Nancy Bush, who was Director of Disaster Management. She starts next Tuesday, June 1st.
Okay. And then my other question, probably more directed to Elizabeth or Sandra. When you consolidated the contingencies from the departments that were in their own funds that are coming into the general fund, was there a net savings there? Did you increase general fund contingency by the same amount you pulled in? Like dollar for dollar? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
And
much,
if I
Mr.
can add to
Feely.
that,
Sure.
I believe, and we're preparing a list. I think if we don't already have it prepared, we'll have it by tomorrow morning, but we're preparing a list of those shifts. So you will see them in some departments as that balance, and we've already seen it, where sometimes the ending balance doesn't match the beginning balance.
right.
That difference is the transfer that's going into
Oh,
the
okay.
general fund. So,
I'm fine with what
Okay.
Elizabeth said. I was
Thank
just
you.
generally wanting to know. Thank you.